You know, when you're going through this time of your life, you sit there and you think, well, it's just me. But what I found is this is still not a subject that women talk about. I think one of the reasons the show is successful is that it just validifies to everybody that, you know, number one, you're not alone out there when you think you still have hopes and dreams, because the rest of us are doing the same thing. When women, you know, talk to their girlfriends about this matter, you know, all your friends say, yeah, me too and stuff. But when you're sitting in an audience with 300 women and everybody's saying, well, that's me on stage, all of a sudden you really know that you're not alone, and you're not alone going through this time of your life. And the second part of your life is going to be as meaningful as the first part. Probably the most important thing to know about my show is Menopause the Musical was never written to be about theater. Let's face it, it's not Macbeth. Menopause the Musical was written to be about women, and the great thing about it is across the country, women get it. Critics, on the other hand, have no clue. But the fun thing about it is when they go to my show and they're sitting there surrounded by screaming women, no matter what they say about it in their reviews, they have to finish it off by saying, but the audience loved it.
It made me laugh. I mean, you're right there. They're talking about what you're going through, and it was great. It was great.
I lived in New York and I saw all the Broadway shows. This is even better than that.
I saw the funniest show that I've ever seen.
Finally, we have something that recognizes women's problems, women's growth through life. Independence. Exactly, right.
My husband tries to understand just no concept for a man. Whether you're a sister or whether you're a mother, you're staying awake, staying awake.
I happened to start the show 3 years ago when I was actually at the start of menopause. So it has helped me just to deal with it and just to know that it's something that everybody else in the whole world has or is going through or will go through. It helps the younger ones understand mom better. It helps husbands understand their wives better. And while we're laughing, you know, the old adage, laughter is the best medicine, really, really works with this show.
Understand, just no concept for a man. Whether you're a sister or whether you're a mother, you're staying awake, staying awake.
Those first few shows, we were astounded every night at the things that people loved that we thought were great, but we didn't know how great they were until we got the response from the audience.
Don't reach out for me, yeah, 'cause it's burning too bright. Give up that night sweating. We know how you're feeling.
Because we bring together all the things that happen to women during menopause, and they realize that it's not just their individual problem, it's everybody, then it becomes a celebration of, oh, you have that too? Oh, that happens to me. Does that happen to you? So then it becomes a celebration of menopause as well. Can't change it, it's gonna happen, so you might as well celebrate it.
Nothing I can do, 'cause it sticks like glue to my thigh.
My girls that are on stage, I mean, these aren't teeny twiggy matrons, as we call them in one of our songs. All my cast members are, when we do our calls, they're 40 years and above, and they're a size 10 and above, so that they can relate to exactly what they're talking about and what they're singing about.
Hearts, they're my thighs.
You know, people say, well, how many men come to your show? Well, about 5% of the audience is usually men, and you can see the claw marks on the walls as they're being dragged in. But once they get there, they love it. It's easy for them to, you know, at this point in time, they can see that they're not living with a total maniac, that there's reasons why all these things are happening.
Well, I had my doubts for a few minutes. Felt like the minority in there, but it was a very great performance, very funny, and glad I came.
And there's a lot of words I didn't understand. I was sitting there thinking, what are they laughing about? I learned that women can laugh at themselves.
And I'm not the only one.
I had a great time. I felt like I died and going to heaven there for a minute.
Husbands learn a lot more about what's going on with their wives. And we can even see them in the audience. Sometimes, you know, the men will start out, you know, thinking, okay, I'm really uncomfortable about this menopause show. I don't know what this is going to be like. and there's a lot of women here, and about halfway through the show, they're nudging the wife, going, "That's you up there," and, you know, laughing, and sometimes we can hear the men over the women.
Because they recognize their wife, they recognize their sister, they recognize their mother. Oh, that's why she didn't like me very much when I was a teenager. You know, that kind of thing. It's very cool to see the men loosen up.
Don't you tell her body needs a girdle. Don't you tell her body needs a girdle. That's a lie.
I think that's the thing that's important about the show too, is that it doesn't just talk about the different elements that women are going through with menopause, like the, you know, hot flashes and night sweats, but it talks about things we deal with at this level. We're dealing with our mothers. We deal with the fact that, you know, we're aging and we can't stop it. We deal with the fact that, you know, we can exercise and it doesn't make any difference. I mean, this stage of life isn't just about, you know, a physical change. It's about a spiritual and an emotional change.
I think one of the things that makes it unique is that the women who come for the first time, when they come back again, and they usually do, they come back with other people. They don't just send people to the show, they bring people to the show.
It's something that I think I would want to come back and see several times, because I think you keep missing. There's so much there that you want to keep seeing. Seeing it and picking up the nuances that you've missed.
And it's like a mirror. You see yourself, you see what you've gone through, and you relate. You really relate.
Absolutely.
This is the third time for me. Every time I see something different.
We've been in 200 cities in the United States. We've been in 11 countries. The show's been translated into 6 different languages. And so I guess that basically says there's menopausal women everywhere in the world. So it's been a very great ride. And it has enabled us to do a lot more things than just have a show. We have a foundation now that is supported by souvenir sales. And we sell hot flash fans at the beginning of the show, and because of that, and a percentage of the souvenirs going to the JCLF Foundation, we are now working with women in Kenya. We're working with women in the United States. We're getting ready to build homes in New Orleans for women that were displaced by Katrina. We tour for ovarian cancer as fundraisers for them in a tour called the MENOPAUSE the Musical Out Loud, raising the awareness of ovarian cancer, where we raise money for all the survivor groups around the country. So the foundation has basically been a big part of what the result of the show has been.
I'm feeling good from my head to my shoes. Now where I'm going and I know what to do.
It's a celebration of women, and by the end, it's a celebration of menopause.
I'm in control, my worries are few. 'Cause I got friends like I never knew. I gotta do what
Women are just, I think, joyful by the end of the show, and joyful is a great way to be about menopause.
It was just wonderful. They were great, and they made me feel wonderful.